wanted to talk to you about getting out of your own way. And I think it's something that's so powerful, yet we often don't like to think about when it comes to creating the life that you want, creating and doing the things that matter to you, and really tapping into your most authentic and powerful self. And there's so many things happening on the outside world, but we've got to look at what are we doing and what is our role in creating the life that we want. Because what I know is you are an amazing and powerful creator. And when you can connect to just how powerful a creator you are, the world starts showing up and interacting with you in a different way. Now, here's the tough part of recognizing and owning that you are a powerful creator. It is talking about, and when I say it doesn't mean that there's no other things that are tied into that, but we really can create the life, the lifestyle, the bodies, whatever it is that you want in life. And when you recognize and own that you can do that, sure, in partnership with God, universe, and so forth, it makes life so much easier because it requires owning your responsibility in it. And that means that you are a powerful creator in creating the good, amazing things that you already have and that you want. And that also means sometimes owning that some of the parts of life that you don't like, that aren't showing up the way that you desire, are also a part of your creation. Now, I know that part we don't like to look at, and it is great when life is not happening for us to blame it on everything on the outside. And that is not to say that there are all sorts of things, there are terrible things happening in this world, there are difficult things that are way out of your span of responsibility. But we do have a lot of power, and that's what I want you to tap into, because when you can tap into the fact that, I'm responsible for the good and I'm responsible for the things in my life that I don't like, it's not to make you feel bad, but it's to see that, oh, wait, if I'm responsible and if I'm playing a key role, then that also means I have the power to shift it. And I have the power to do something about it. And that's where getting out of your way comes into play in all of that. And to realize and look at what are the parts in my life that I don't like, or that aren't showing up for me that I want, or that don't exist that I want to exist. And what role am I playing in that? And so that's what I want to talk to you about. And so there's a few key pieces to look at in getting out of your own way. And the first part is, what are the stories that you're telling yourself about this? And I will use myself as a great example for this, because I have been working through this. We all get in our ways in different ways, and we get out of one way and we get in our way in another way. And I'm actually super excited because I'm about to launch this really wonderful challenge. So keep posted for that, and I'll tell you more about that at the end. But so I'm getting ready to launch a Greater Joy Challenge, and I'm getting ready to open up and launch a new, really powerful transformational group that I have been wanting to do for a while now. So coming back to the model of how do we get out of our own way? The first thing is, what stories am I telling about the thing that I want to do? And the thing that I wanted to do was change my business model on how I was doing business, because I realized the way I was doing it was running myself into the ground and working super, super hard. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. In doing that, I was launching myself into areas that I wasn't in my wheelhouse, that I was like, oh, I'm trying new things. I'm venturing out into all sorts of different things online and so forth, because I love being in person and I love working with people and giving talks and workshops and being physically. Well, pandemic changed that. And so the story I was telling myself was, in order to get into this, I've got to do more research. I've got to learn more. I've got to know more. Do I have to get, do I have to study a new program or do something? And so that's one of the big stories we tell ourselves is, I don't know enough for what it is that I'm looking to get into. So ask yourself, what are the stories I'm telling? And is that in fact true? A lot of times also is people tell me I don't have time. There's so much going on in my life that I don't have time. And I get it. Working moms, and there's a lot of, or you've got all sorts of activities. But is it true you actually don't have time in 24 hours in a day? Because let me tell you, some of my busiest clients, when we really broke that down about the don't have time, there was gaps of time that when you added it up, 10 minutes here on Facebook, 20 minutes there on a phone call, and piece by piece by piece, and we distract ourselves here, we go and have a Netflix binge over there. There is time. It may not show up in the way we want to, but there is always time for the things that we are committed to. And sometimes we have to let go of where we're giving our time to some of the things that don't actually matter. So, one, ask yourself, what are the stories I'm telling myself that are keeping me from this? Because that is so powerful to see where I'm actually not telling myself the truth. And when you can deal with that, then you're actually empowering yourself to see your true self and love your true self, even on the downsides, because it is okay. The best thing you can ever do is start to tell yourself the truth of your shortcomings, the truth of where you are challenged or where you are struggling. Because when we actually admit that, then we can do something about it. So seeing the downside, seeing the tough side or the struggle is hugely empowering, because you're empowering yourself to do something about it. So that's the first part. One, what are the stories you're telling yourself that are getting in your way? Two, what is it? Ask yourself, what is it that I'm really afraid of? Where, and this is where we got to get real with ourselves, coming back to telling the truth. What am I really afraid of the thing I'm not doing or the thing that I do want to do? And for so many of us, it's failure, it's judgment, it's not being loved or liked or what have you. So get real with the thing that you're afraid of that may happen, because that's also just so insightful for yourself to realize these are the areas that that deeper part of me is looking to strengthen or is looking to receive. If the thing that I'm afraid of is not being liked or not being loved or being shunned or being judged or what have you, then that gives me an invitation to see, you know what? Do I have enough support on my own? Because who gives a flim-flam of what this other person thinks about whether I'm liked or not? And if I do have that attachment to that, that's okay. I can see that about myself. I don't have to ignore that. Maybe that's just an opportunity for me to tune in and see where I need to actually heal myself, see where I need to love myself some more, see where those gaps are. And then the other part of that is when I see what I'm really afraid of, well, you know what? Let's go dive in. And what I say, and this is one of the most amazing exercises I do with my clients, is, you know what? Let's actually get deeper with that. And a tool you can do is just jump to what the worst thing can happen is. Because sometimes the fear, it comes in and it starts overpowering us, but we're not actually in check with what we're really afraid of and what could happen. It's like, so for me, it was like, okay, what if I flop? What if I put something out into the world and it's not wildly successful and it's not huge on the first try? You get stuck in the big fear, but then it's like, okay, so what? So what if the fear that I have happens? Then what do I do there? Am I going to fall apart and die? Am I going to be living under a bridge in the street somewhere? Because then you get to see, like, it just shuts us down, but we don't see, like, oh, yeah, okay, it happened. And you know what? I learn, I grow, I get back up and I go do it. Or you know what? So I go and try a new relationship. And the worst thing that happens is it doesn't work. But you know what? Did I learn something about myself? Did I have some new experiences? Wonderful. The things that so often happens when we do the things that let us shut down from the fear is because we are afraid of facing a false truth about ourselves. So here's what I mean by that. When I say you are afraid of facing a false truth about yourself, because where the disconnect is not being in touch that there's a part of you of your mind telling you the story, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're not worthy of wildly amazing success or wildly amazing love. And we keep ourselves from jumping in, from taking the risk, from taking the leap to living truthfully our calling, our God calling, our soul's calling on these things, because we're believing this story that it's not even your story, that someone planted in you from a long ass time ago that you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're not lovable, you're not successful, you can't be these things. And we're afraid if we try, we're gonna prove that false thing and create a data point about it. No, it's not true. So here's the thing, when you get in touch with what you're really afraid of, you can get in touch with these stories that exist to realize it's bullshit. The story isn't true. I don't have to worry about proving the story or keep avoiding and keeping myself small for the sake of a story that's not true. And so you get to see, like, so what if these bad things happen? None of them are actually bad. What if those things that I'm afraid of are actually blessings? What if they're just the stepping stones to get me where I want to go? What if those failures are actually necessary? So the thing is, you're getting your own way and keeping yourself small and keeping yourself detached and unavoiding the things you want, the things you are afraid will happen, when those things that you're afraid of are the needed things to get you to the next level. And so we've really got to start to transform what this idea of failure is, what this idea of the worst things that could possibly happen. And we tell ourselves, oh my gosh, I would just die if that happened. I couldn't handle it if that happened. Guess what? You can handle it because you're amazing and you're strong and you have handled even tougher things in life, and you can overcome and you can keep going. And the great thing is, the more that you are able to overcome these challenges, the stronger you are, the smarter you get, the better you get, and the more expanded you get from all of these other amazing experiences you brought into your life. The thing is, especially as Black women here, we have so many things that we have to overcome living as a Black woman in society. And it is hard and it is exhausting. But you know what? We're overcoming constantly other people's problems, and it's exhausting us, and it is keeping us and robbing us from the ability of actually creating our own great problems to overcome and get stronger from, and so forth. You are an overcomer, and we have got to learn that it is okay to create and try new things and boldly go into all sorts of crazy things, as opposed to holding ourselves back and telling ourselves, I would never do that. I can't ever do that. Go ahead and do it, because you know what? It molds you into a better, stronger person to bring more of your amazingness into the world. And how amazing is that? So, we've got 2 out of 3 steps. 1, look at the stories that you're telling yourself. They're lies that your mind is telling you about why you're not actually doing something, and get to the root of what that's about. Tap into what are you really afraid of that would happen for some of these amazing things that you want to do, that you're called to do, that it is time for you to do. And then lastly, so that's doing some of the inner work. And then lastly, go do it. And I don't mean like it can shut us down, though, especially if you've had big callings, big dreams, big projects. But break it down to the small. Break it down to the simple things. What is one small action that you can do to move you forward to the next level of what you want to create? And actually, and I was just working with an amazing client today about this, the first step is to actually own your calling, is to actually own the thing you are afraid to say of your desire, of what you want to bring into your world. Because chances are you're even slowing yourself down or minimizing the bigness of what your soul, what your spirit is asking to come through. Don't minimize it. Let yourself actually connect to what you really want. You deserve it. It's worthwhile. And let me tell you, whatever it is that you're feeling, that you feel is calling, and I'm talking about those deep callings of things, or even some of the smaller things, it's not too big and it's not too much. And then the part B of that, of owning what it is you actually want, is don't worry about the how. That is another way we get in our own way. It's like, oh my gosh, but I don't know how. I don't see how that's even possible. Don't worry about the how. Guess what? It's not your business. That's God's business. Leave that over there. But if you were planted a seed that is trying to come out, that wants to germinate, you've got to own it. You've got to own that you're worthy of it. You've got to own that it is you and it is your time to bring that out there, and forget the how. All that you have to ask is, what's the first step? What's the first thing for me to do about that? And then go and do that first thing. Is it something for me to research? Is it something I have to have a conversation? Do I need to make an appointment for something? What's just one little thing? And then all you have to ask is, what's the next thing? And if the answer is, but I don't know the answer to this, well, guess what? Formulate a good question and then get the answer to that. And little by little, you will create momentum. So, just to recap as I wrap up, and it's so great seeing you all here today. 1, when it comes to getting in your own way, first of all, even that's 0, pre-1, own that you're getting in your own way. Own and take responsibility for some of the things that where you are holding yourself back from creating what you want. There is nothing wrong in owning that, you know what? I have a role in creating the life that I have right now. I have a role for why I don't have some of the things I have, or why I have some of the problems I have. When you can own that you have a role in it, you're taking power back for yourself, because that means you were empowered to know, if I'm taking responsibility, then guess what? I also have the power to create a different outcome. I can create something different and better for myself. I created this, I can create something else. So then when you own that, ask yourself, what are the stories I've been telling myself that have been perpetuating this? Have I been telling myself I don't have time? Have I been telling myself I don't know the answer? I've been telling myself that this has to come later. This is for 10 years later. Or, what are those stories? And ask, are they really true? Is that actually true? How might this not be true? Then number 2, ask yourself, what am I really afraid of that would happen? And then what's the worst that could happen? Because don't worry about what's the biggest thing that could possibly happen, and realize on the other side of that, you're still going to be here. You're still going to be alive and kicking. And guess what? Maybe you just got better as a result of it, because you are strong and amazing. And then lastly, what is one empowered action you can take for yourself? Just one tiny action. So I want to hear from you. Love some of this is resonating with you. Tap like, tell me what resonated with you, and let me know, what are some of those things? What are some of the ways in where you have been getting in your own way, so we can get out of that way and make these wonderful things happen for you. So sending you such big love, and getting out of your own way love. Until next time. Take care.